What it is, what is up, what is good, gamers? This is Shonuff71, aka Digger Dulamite,
Purple bling bling, y'all.
and your auditory canals tuned into episode 239 of the Gaming Vessels podcast. And as usual, I am not in the digital studio alone. Along with me, got my partners in crime. First on deck, it's Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
That's me.
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that Gamer Stepdaddy. How's it going, my friend?
Oh, great. Great. Staying dry because it seems we seem to be have hit the rainy season, so it's going to be a little crazy. But all in all, doing pretty well. Hope all of you fantastic listeners out there are doing great as well.
Very good. And of course, our show is a no-go without Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah, that's me.
But you might also know him as the Food Max of gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. How's it going?
That's going good. I sound like Yogi Bear at that damn intro, so it's like
You did. You really did. I was like, I was wondering which one of us is
Boo
what's
boo.
that? Boo boo.
You're definitely boo boo. So.
Me? Oh, thanks.
Hey.
Yes, and video games are your picnic baskets, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I just grabbed some picnic baskets just a little while ago. Yeah, I went to GameStop and traded in some games. I'm still like, wheeling and dealing. Oh boy, look at me. I traded in some games and bought some more games. How about that? So.
Hey, but you bought some games you sold back though, so you traded in. So
because I sold in at a high price and I rebought at a very low price. So hey, I buy that for $1. It's like,
yes, he would, folks. Yes, he would.
I came to the realization, hey, am I going to find this game for $5 at any local retail establishment? No, I'm not. So I had to make the value proposition, the mental math and all that. Them fighting herds with My Little Pony fighting game, $5. Okay. I'm good. All of it.
Okay.
I looked hard at that. I looked at the Redfall I traded back in. Remember when you guys were giving me all that grief? It was basically put on deep discount again. It's like $5.
And you bought it again?
No, I did not. No.
Okay.
I drew the line. So
you drew a line, huh?
Yeah, I saw Werewolf the Apocalypse for Xbox Series X, and I said, don't know about that Werewolf Apocalypse. Oh, it's Altered Beast for the modern generation. Oh wait.
Yeah. Sir, I don't know what to tell you, sir. I
I'm doing all this math. I did not buy it. I did not buy that either. It was $5, $5. It would have been with the GameStop noted discount. I would have paid $4.49 plus tax. So
$5 make you holler, folks.
No,
That was $4.48 too much. I've seen the gameplay of that game. It looks abysmal.
It's on PlayStation Plus, I believe. So if you really want to check it out, you can. I actually own the physical for PS4 for some reason, but hey, what I do?
Because you do.
I do. I want options. I have
you do,
options.
Sir.
Yes, as I want.
I think you have too many options, sir. I think that's the problem. You have too many options.
Freedom of choice. I'm gonna queue up some Devo.
Yeah. But freedom from choice is what you want.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I could sell my physical games and just buy an Xbox, But
okay, let's move on. No.
No. Okay. Sorry about that.
Not be doing that.
Okay. All right. Well, with that said, we're going to move on to what is always our first topic on the docket. That is our playlist. So let's kick things off with Dez. What you been playing, man?
All Alrighty, so what have I been playing? Well, been playing Helldivers with y'all crazy folks, and having a blast with that. Yeah, it never gets old blowing Joe up. I just have to say, shooting him, blowing him up. It's just choice, like every time.
You haven't killed me all that much as you want to.
As much as I want to.
Yeah, as much as you want to. No, you haven't killed me all that often, actually.
No, I haven't. I haven't. It's been pretty good. It's been pretty good. Not a lot of deaths. But overall, lots of fun with that game. And I think what I like about it the most is just it. Each run is so different, and it seems, I know people could think that it could be quote unquote samey, do certain things, go to certain things, stuff like that. But I really believe that, like, it's just a lot of fun stuff that you could do. And you never know, like, who's going to get, shot up. You never know, what's going to happen. And I think that's one of the things that makes the game so much fun is there's just so many different things. And when you're opening new things, I do think that some of the progression for the main ship is kind of slow compared, by getting the samples and stuff like that. I do think that's kind of slow, and I really wish that they wouldn't have gated that so much behind. It's not like a paywall or anything like that. It just seems like it could have been a little bit easier, an easier time or a quicker time to get some of the stuff for the ship. I think to get the money in order to upgrade your stratagems, I think that's fine. I think you get enough money from that to progress that really well, plus your levels. So I think they got that really, really, really well done. But yeah, other than that, I think the game is great, and it really wants you to and even the firing. It's like you can't like run and do anything super, like you can't like run and shoot stuff up too much, because if you do, like your what is it, your stamina.
Ammo?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, your stamina will fuck up or mess up, so you can't really do that too much. You have to like stop that. So I actually really, really enjoy it. I know we've all played it, so I figured we could do like a little bit of a Helldivers thing before I go on. So what are both of your feelings about it so far? I mean, it's been out for about 2 weeks now. So what are your thoughts? Okay, I'll send it over to Joe.
I'm enjoying it so far. I mean, pretty much it's just been a hoot and a holler. It's like I love the fact that, I don't know if you guys, I started digging into the whole minutia a little bit, and I saw that I guess Arrowhead has a noted dungeon master that is basically rotating the maps if need be. So everything based on server is determined by the one particular DM at Arrowhead that is basically putting different things and variables in the mix. And if you haven't picked up on the fact that it's a live campaign, meaning that they're running campaigns to basically, conquer the both the bugs and the automatons. Is how you say
Automatons.
That? Automatons. There you go. On there. Mm-hmm. So me and Kev fought the automatons along with Goonie last night for the first time, and boy, oh boy, oh boy. Boy, oh boy.
They're kicking your butt?
Wasn't
ass
pretty.
lit on fire,
Ooh,
basically.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty bad on there. So
Yeesh.
I got to think of a better strategy to fight against the say it again. Automatons. There you go. I'll get it right. So.
Yeah, automatons.
Dude.
Okay. Automatons.
But yeah, it's been a great game night, game 2. I mean, John BT hopped on. We got on game night a little bit late as far as, but it was between that, Goonie hopping in. So I mean, and
Christian with the carry.
Yeah, of course. Christian, only guy playing on Steam out of a group, but that's why we throw on Discord, and he was able to join us after we switched over to PSN chat. So on there, but I haven't really attempted to play the game without playing with you guys. I haven't really tried to play solo with a bunch of randos or anything yet. So
I know Kev had some fun with that.
Yeah, I did, and it fun. If this is opposite day, no, it wasn't fun because I don't know what it is with multiplayer games. It seems to bring out the worst in people, even when it's not PvP. It's just I don't understand people. So the short and dirty. I jumped into a well, actually, I started a lobby and some randos joined my ship. First conflict we run into, and I think the overall mission was another nest clearing. First conflict we have, one person just accidentally shoots somebody. Okay, they didn't even kill him. Okay, bugs show up, a couple people die. I bring them back. When they come back, the dude that got shot, he's got a laser cannon, and I'm wondering why they're not moving on to the objective. Okay, so one of the dudes has the other player pinned down behind this rock, and he is just laying into this rock with his laser cannon, like running, or they're playing this do-si-do game, like running around the rock trying to, one guy is trying to blast the
Ugh.
other, and the other dude's trying to shoot him. I don't even know what the third person was doing, because I just saw that. I'm like, okay, I'm just going to go on with the objectives, because I think as gunfire continues, it attracts the bugs. So it kind of split the bugs up into messing with them and allowed me to go on ahead and continue with the objectives, which I pretty much did on my own. But it got so bad that they were like literally when the bugs would show up, they would ignore the bugs and just shoot each other.
Ugh.
And I'm just like, okay, I'm just trying to get through this mission. Yeah, y'all can go. Randos, the is, and my rule from now on is just I'm only going to play randos in fighting games, because they're
Yeah.
the opponent. I'm just not going to deal with it. And I get it, different people have a different idea of fun, but it was just literally a waste of time. We got very low completion bonuses because them three were fighting each other. It's just silly. It's like, if you're not going to play the game right, then don't play it at all, or just jump on
With your friends.
in a private thing and goof off with your buds and then do that nonsense there. Don't bring it to somebody else's game. And that just it's
Agreed.
frustrating.
Yeah, that sounds frustrating. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But overall, I'm echoing your guys' opinion. I think it's a great game.
Yes, I think it's great. I really cannot wait to play more of it. And yeah, I think if you have not played this game yet and you own a PlayStation, you're missing out. It's very, very well. Very, very good. Another game that Joe and I have been playing was Tiny Tina's Wonderland. It's another multiplayer game that we started playing with Goonie. And it's, if it's not, Helldivers or Division, we're playing Tiny Tina's. and and I've enjoyed it so far. I don't know. I don't know what it is. I played it before, but it wasn't hidden. But I don't know. I'm playing it now, and it seems to really be hitting on that level. So I probably will be playing that, and I don't know if I'll be completing it or not, but I will definitely be playing it because I've had a lot of fun with it so far. I don't know why it's ringing now. It hasn't rung before, but it's really hitting on all cylinders, and so I'm super excited to be playing that.
Yeah.
Go
I'm
ahead.
enjoying it as well. It's just, I've been a big Borderlands fan in the past. I've played Borderlands 2 to completion with all the DLCs and whatnot. I haven't
But
really.
three was, I don't know, something with three was just not. It just didn't hit. I don't
I want to
know.
go. I want to go back to 3 at some point. I mean, I
Mm.
have it in my games out in the living room, and so I have it installed. on my PS5, and I'm really curious about going back to it at some point because I want to play the DLC as well. I think we got halfway through the campaign and kind of petered out a little bit. But,
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I just got kind of like, I think it was the story just really didn't hit on
with
the third ones with the weird,
streamers,
you streamer people and all that other stuff. Maybe it picks up later, but at the place where we were at, I was just like, I don't really want to see what's going on with this, so I'm just gonna bow out. But yeah, I mean, there's just so many games nowadays, so you gotta kind of be even more selective when how you want to spend your time. So, but yeah. Speaking about how games and how to spend your time, I am still playing Grim Dawn. Yes, I'm still playing Grim Dawn. I'm enjoying it to no end. It is such a fun game. I really wish it would come to PlayStation 4. I have not opened it up for my on my Steam Deck because I've gotten pretty far on the Xbox version. So I think I'm probably going to beat it on the Xbox just because it's just an easier, like I like consoles, so and it's just kind of an easier thing for me to do. But I do enjoy it to no end. So I will continue to play that for as long as I can because it's just I really enjoy it. It's just such a good game, and I cannot wait for Titan Quest 2 because I know it's by a different team, but anything more in that genre, what is it, CRPGs or whatever, it's just my favorite. It's just I really have always loved CRPGs, and I will continue to love them until I can't play them anymore. such a great gaming format that I just want to continue to play it. So much fun.
Are you talking about like Grim Dawn, you mean? Yeah, I think those are ARPGs, right?
ARPGs, sorry. You are correct. Yeah, I thought it was like GRPG. I don't know. But yes,
yeah, the CRPGs is like Divinity and Baldur's Gate. So
yes, sorry. Thank you for correcting me. I appreciate it, Jojo.
No problem. I was going to ask you actually, have you heard of a game called Last Epoch?
Yes, it has not come out. It has not come out for systems yet. I have watched people play it on Steam, and it's supposed to be pretty good. Pretty good. It's trying to take Diablo's lunch, so we will see how that progresses. But
the 1.0 is dropping this week, actually. So.
Yeah, that's why it was another game that I was thinking about. But again, it's on PC.
Yeah,
and there are no thoughts about putting it on to consoles just yet. They want to get the PC version right, quote unquote, and then it'll come out on consoles at a later time. So hopefully that later time is not too far in the future because the game looks great. So if you like your ARPGs, you might want to take a look at it because I honestly believe that it's going to be fantastic. So, but those are all the games that I have been playing. So I'm going to kick it over to Jabroni Chief. Jabroni Chief, sir, what games have you been playing this past week?
Besides the Helldivers 2 and Tiny Tina Wonderlands, the only game I've been playing besides that is I'm back in Division 2. So
yep, Goonie keeps pulling you back in.
Oh, Goonie's in hardcore, and so I just like I got back in and like literally I was just okay. I was telling him, okay, where are we going? You tell me what to do, and I'm down. So he's having me go in and change the world modifier to heroic. Oh, wow. And we're putting a bunch of modifiers, like eliminating the map. The event that's going on right now basically is a zombie event. So if you do not shoot your opponents in the head and kill them with a headshot, they have a good chance of basically rezzing on the battlefield as a zombie. So, Wow. So you have to kill them with a headshot. Yeah. As far as playing on heroic. And so we wound up going back and forth. Obviously, there's the current season, which has to do with the fact that trying to think of her. Kelso gets kidnapped, so you have to go.
No, not Kelso.
Not Kelso. Yes, sweet little innocent Kelso. Yes, so Agent Kelso. So on here, so that's the whole thing about that, and so it's in the same like kind of seasonal format that Division has, and so you get kind of a bunch of different objectives to go quote unquote investigate, and the quote unquote investigating is just to run around on the world map, maybe take over a control point, go over and maybe do this, that, and the other thing. So it's a lot of busy buddy kind of stuff where it's just taking you from point to point. Oh, well, Goonies all deep into it, and there's a bunch of different modifiers. I got the chance to really play around with the new update, because the new update just totally like threw everything was rebalanced, weapons, armor on there. They even messed with the like workbench and the whole schematics and whatnot. You were able to tinker with your weapons right straight from the menu. So you could actually add modifiers while you're out in the field. You don't have to necessarily wait till you're back in on a area, like a base area, to be able to go in and go to the workbench.
You're never gonna get stuff done then. If that's the case.
Nah, I made concessions, and I basically told Goonie, okay, I'm gonna just throw everything I picked up in my stash, and I'll take the time later to kind of go through the loot. So I was just doing that right before we started recording, so I just hopped in there, and they had like about 100 weapons. I was sitting there just like, okay, I'm recycling these, I'm doing this, doing that. So game gets kind of involved in that way, so I almost wish in a way it's just probably in the way I approach it, but it's a thing that I have particular weapons I like, so I should just build those up, and I just want to play the missions and kind of experience the story content and whatnot. We also played the descent mode too, which was a particular mode where you go up a particular office building and you have up to 100 floors, waves of enemies that you go through and stuff. So there was like a daily that I was doing with him on there where we had to get up to do 15 floors to be able to go ahead and finish a project on there. So and actually that was pretty fun. And the thing about it is when you do that particular mode, you don't necessarily have to do all 100 floors in one play session. Basically it saves every so many floors, it saves at that point, and so you could go ahead and like say resume your ascent up to the top of the skyscraper basically on there. So I'm enjoying it quite a bit. The plot has kind of really been going on for these last few years on here. So obviously the game is in a state now where I'm getting this content kind of after the fact, so I could go back and replay prior seasons to get an idea as far as because in the Division 2 you have like the campus, of course, you have like another settlement, and there's a third settlement at the I'm trying to think of the name of the place. It's like a cathedral sort of building where in the original Division 2 you just basically rescue a bunch of people out of it, but there's nothing built up there. But that's like a third settlement on the map for Division 2. So I kind of give it up to Ubisoft for continuing to support the game. We're looking at, you could go buy this game for $2 at GameStop. It's on like most of these services, and maybe that's why game sales are failing now, because you got all these long in the tooth games just constantly supported that people are playing, so
maybe,
but it's something to where I think I'll be dabbling with Division 2 all the way up until whenever Division 3 kind of rears its head, or when Ubisoft finally decides to say, okay, it's been nice, it's been fun, but let's move on at that point. So, but
you never know.
They have new DLC dropping in 2025, so they have an entire expansion. And they're supposed to drop this year, but they did push it back. So, but, other than that, that's all I've been playing. I've been meaning to play other things, and we'll hopefully next pod, which is going to come in 2 weeks from now, I'll be talking about some different stuff. I want to go back to Grand Blue Fantasy. I want to fire up my Steam Deck, fire up my Switch, because I haven't done that since my month of Xbox, and just download a particular game from THQ called Outcast. That is an old game that's being remade. Kind of has those Elix vibes a bit, but that game is dropping in March. But there was a demo on PSN. I just downloaded it right before the show. So
it's called Outcast.
Outcast, yeah.
So you got some bombs over Baghdad. Yeah.
There you go.
Sorry.
All right, Kev, what you been playing besides Helldivers 2?
The only other thing I've been playing has been Tekken 8. I was able to jump into that last night. Started messing with it using my Razer Kitsune. And I tell you, this controller is fantastic. It is leverless controllers perfected. It really is. And I think the difference maker is the fact that it uses micro switches instead of the standard Sanwa buttons that many of the other ones do. It makes doing like for Tekken, it's like the Korean backdash is actually doable. Like I mean, you're not gonna master it the first time you try it, but because there's a certain rhythm you need to get into, but it is so much easier to do your dash cancels, to do your some characters have like a sway, which is almost like an install, which allows them a whole other set of moves while they're in the sway animation. And of course you have the electric forward slide that all the Mishimas can do. And leverless controls just make those motions so much easier. You're able to do them quicker. You're able to do them. For me, it's just a matter of being easy. Now there is a slight difference in doing some of these motions on the one player side as opposed to the two player side. But even that is just a matter of repositioning your right hand to partially cover the motion buttons. And that's just something that's just going to come with muscle memory. But using a leverless controller with Tekken is just making this game all that much more enjoyable for me personally, because Tekken's always been a series that I've kind of admired. Well, not kind of, I have admired from afar. But when they started implementing the dash cancels, I think it was in Tekken Tag, I think they were first implementing it. I might be wrong on that. It was already a high hill to climb just from the move sets of the characters. But then you factor in that dash cancel that puts you, the reason why dash canceling is so important is because Tekken is one of the few fighting games, it might be the only one, where you can block while backdashing. The only thing that you can't block are lows. You can block highs and mids while in the backdash animation. So the ability to get out of the way of attacks, reposition yourself around your opponent, motion is really critical in Tekken. And if you're going to be halfway decent at the game online, then you have to master that. And this leverless controller is just making that easy. Now there are a lot of other leverless controllers out there for a lot less money. I have the other leverless controller that I have is the snack box, which I picked up at Evo last year, and it basically does the same thing, just in a smaller form factor. But what I like about the Kitsune, because it's an official product, all of the PlayStation 5 functions are built in already. That's not always going to be the case with other controllers, particularly if they're not officially licensed. So you might have to utilize like a Brooks adapter for them, or and the other one is like a Mayflash adapter for them. I mean, that's perfectly doable, but there is going to be that added learning curve layer of learning what the buttons do and getting all that figured out. Just navigating your OS just to get into the game that I don't have to worry about because this thing is an official. It's an official product, so it ain't cheap. But then again, no fighting game controller is. But I think it's if you like fighting games, but you're finding the arcade stick controls a little bit more difficult, and maybe you're not used to playing fighting games on a pad, I would highly look into leverless controllers, and if you are so inclined, you cannot go wrong with the Razer Kitsune. The only criticism that people have had about it is its price, and that's fully understandable. I get it, but when you when you take into account that it's literally got all of the PlayStation 5 features built into it from the jump. You don't have to use an adapter of any kind to play. Everything is clearly marked. You can also utilize it for PC as well, just as, just about every other third-party controller out there, or even first-party controllers now on the market. I think it's an investment. It's an investment well worth making. So as far as now I'm in the process of just learning the game. There are some new mechanics that have been added. Heat was in Tekken 7, but there's like Heat Rush in Tekken 8, which has different. What am I saying? It gives your character some different not abilities, but characteristics. Like some characters have like armored. An armored ability when they're executing certain moves while in Heat Rush. So it's just another layer that they've added to the game, just kind of to spice up gameplay. First character I've been using is Raven because I've always liked the character. I don't know if I'm going to wind up making him my main because he is not exactly. He's not the hardest character. I don't think he's the hardest character in Tekken 8 to learn, but he's got like some installs that like he's got this. What's his move called? Soul something, and it puts him into a certain state that allows like some soul moves can allow him to like counter attacks. And then other soul moves put him into Heat Rush like right off the bat. And that gives him certain abilities. So there's a certain additional learning curve layer that goes along with him. So I don't know if he'll wind up being my official main, but I'm just kind of going through his move set and just trying to learn a little bit of his combo sequences. But mostly right now, my focus is just learning the game itself and how to play it. So, like I mentioned in a prior show, Tekken 8 is going to be I'm going to part of what I'm going to do with my game time is teach myself Tekken. I know my nephew EJ also has Tekken 8, so he's teaching himself as well. So we're probably going to wind up connecting online and just kind of learning together. But yeah, Tekken 8 it's fantastic. It's
no joke, huh?
It's no joke. It's really good. I watched
some of the people play it, and like I see some of the like the YouTubers and stuff, and I'm just like, man, like folks are just going crazy with it right now, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't be that person. I'll get whooped on left and right, you know, no kinds of no kinds of just like chill for me. I'd be like, no.
hmm Yeah, it's a lot of it's a lot of fun. So I'm gonna be spending definitely a certain amount of time digging into the mechanics of Tekken 8 for sure. Went back and started fiddling with the Steam Deck BS again.
Oh,
Um, and I don't know. I do not understand what happened. I just turned it on and I went to my where I keep my my free to play games. Well, not free to play, but freeware games. Final Fight LNS, Double Dragon, all that stuff. And I brought up the application that I used to launch those. And one of the games, well, there was two things that happened when I turned on my Steam Deck. Number one, it refused to connect to my television. Now, I initially had it going through an HDMI switch that was literally working perfectly just fine just a week ago. And now it's not working at all. And I honestly don't think it's the switch. I think it's the finickiness of just PC in general. I have no idea why it wasn't working. So what I wound up doing was taking the switch out of the equation. I have enough because I've disconnected my PC because I honestly don't see myself going back and utilizing it again. So that's one HDMI port vacated, and I now have four consoles that I have connected to it. That would be PS5, the Xbox, the Switch, and now the Steam Deck. So I have one port for each. The only thing that I can't do now is play, like if I wanted to plug in my Evercade or something and mess with that. So I'd have to go back and unplug something and plug in the Evercade and utilize that. But I might look into perhaps a better or a different switch, but I've had that switch for years and it never gave me a problem. I had more stuff connected to it, utilizing it. Never gave me a problem, but then I turned on the Steam Deck and it was working fine the week prior, and then it's not attaching to, not connect to finding the external display. So I had to go into the what do you call that, the desktop mode, and fiddle with that a little bit. And desktop mode wouldn't recognize that I had an external display connected, so I had to turn it off and recycle it again. And it's just like, good grief. But now it seems to finally, hopefully, work. But yeah, PC will never be my primary way to game. It just won't. It is just too much for me, my experience. I know, your mileage may vary, and I know there are some people that thrive on the problem solving aspects of it. I don't.
you're like, no, thank you.
I ain't got time for this shit. It's like all I want to do is just play a game, and it's little stuff like this that keeps popping up. And I experienced this with my with the 1070 PC that I built. When it was working right, it was great. But man, don't let something go wrong. Don't let some file not properly load. And I know Steam has made things so much easier than it used to be. I get all that. I understand all that, and all these other storefronts make things all a whole lot easier. And I get it, but it'll never be my primary way to game, ever, ever, ever. But that has been my gaming adventures for the past week. So we're going to move on to what is always our next topic on the docket. And that's going to be this week's main event. All right, Des, you got the mic, man.
All righty. So for this week's main event, our question is, do you play games in easy, normal, or hard mode? No judgments. We just want to know your preference. And we're probably going to make fun of you. But still, no judgments. I swear. We might make fun of Joe, but that's just normal. But we'll talk about your answers on the next show. So I'll start. I am a normal person through and through. I am not proving it to nobody. I will play everything on normal. Sometimes I will go down to easy because I am not, and I repeat, I am not trying to, make things harder for myself because like life is too short to have me run around trying to like show somebody myself that I can play games on hard mode. I just don't do it. It's not fun for me to try to have myself be what's the word? Have myself be agitated at a pastime, at a hobby. Like that's just not me. I don't want to be that person. I don't need to be that person. That's kind of why my tolerance for Souls likes is kind of like so I just know that that's just not me as a gamer. That's just not me. So and if people could do it and you're one of those people that could do it, more power to you. I'm just not that person. And I hats off to you. My friends, for your ability to handle that mess like you do, but I cannot. Now, if a game is too easy, I mean that's something different. Like if a game is too easy, I will definitely pump up the volume a little bit. But I think that's very few and far between. I really believe that most games are balanced right. I want to say that they're just balanced just right. I haven't played a game on normal that I thought was just like way too easy. And I was just like, what the hell is this game? Why are you like this? No, I haven't really faced that yet. But yeah, I am a normal person. I believe that was, I'm going to sit here and say I believe that is the time. What is it? That is the way that the creators intended the game to be, because we could get into a whole another conversation, and we can if y'all want to, about what actually a hard mode is, because sometimes a hard mode is just adding more beef, and by beef I mean like more hit points to something and making it more of a sponge and having that be your quote unquote hard mode. And if that's just the case, and there's no extra mechanics or there's nothing that really will make you as a player work harder, then why do that? Now if you have a hard mode and it brings out whole new like mechanics that your enemies will use, then I think that's much more of a boon for the player. And that's like, that adding that level of competency to your hard mode would be really, really fun for some people. But again, I think I am mostly a normal mode type of person. So I'm gonna kick it over to Joe. Are you a normal mode type of person, or are you an easy mode type of person? So I know you're not a hard type of person. I just know that.
For me, yeah, I usually just rock normal. There are certain games that offer more rewards for doing hard or challenging or whatever difficulty. So it just depends if those games. I kind of look at the risk and reward as far as that is concerned, because a lot of times, you're at a point, especially if you're playing an ARPG like Diablo 3 or Diablo 4, where things might get a little easier once you obtain better gear, or like Division 2, for instance. on there, same thing, where you're willing to go ahead and play a mission on a higher difficulty based on the amount of rewards that you get. And now for a story-based game, it just depends if the game, you have to measure each particular title separately if needed. I usually will start on normal, but if it gets too easy, I might want to bump it up to hard just for the sake of enhancing the gameplay if need be. It kind of reminds me because I used to play a particular 360 RPG, if you remember Blue Dragon. And Blue Dragon was notoriously like super easy, even in normal mode. And so it wasn't per se balanced. It was pretty much a cakewalk. So playing on like hard was kind of a prerequisite so that you were able to, get a little bit more of the rhythm of the, turn-based RPG action if need be. Same thing with Dragon Quest XI. I've been playing that game off and on for a while now, and it's the point that I do not play in normal mode on that particular title. I do play it in a harder difficulty, which you could basically start at the beginning of your campaign on there. And you're able to switch anytime you want on there, but it has a little bit more of a modifiers and stuff that be able to go ahead and obviously make the game a little bit more difficult, and so therefore bringing out a little bit more strategy if need be in the actual combat itself. So it depends on the title, depends on as far as what type of game it is too. On here, I haven't played that much as far as soul likes are concerned. I do want to start playing. I have a considerable Souls backlog if need be, so that might be my Dark Souls backlogs. Meaning a bunch of Souls games I've been wanting to play but haven't taken the time to do so. I was thinking about starting with the OG one, which would be Demon Souls.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Why?
So,
Why go back? Just play the new ones.
I want to play the one on the remastered one that they brought out on PS5. So
okay, that I can understand because
that's the one I'm thinking I want to play for the first time because I want to see at least those original mechanics. I do have the PS3 Demon Souls somewhere, but I'm probably not going to be playing that necessarily. But I do have like that. I have all 3 Dark Souls games, Bloodborne, of course. So I got a number of different. Neo 1 and 2, so I got plenty of Souls games to kind of go back and take a gander at. So,
I think one of the cool things. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were done. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say one of the cool things that you brought up that I didn't even think about was a lot of the instance-based games like
Diablo, Titan Quest,
and Division 2, they allow you to change like specific mission structures and make them harder for better rewards. And I've done that before, especially if you're really super kitted out and you're like, this will be a cakewalk because you have played it for so long and you know what you're looking for and what you can do. So yeah, I could definitely, speak to that and say like, oh, that's when you start feeling like a badass and you're like, oh, I can solo this or I can do that. And that's really kind of cool, So yeah, I can definitely, speak to that. And I didn't even think about, it's not now where you can basically, where you have to, keep the whole thing in hard mode, quote unquote. You can pick and choose when you want to have hard mode active or not. And I think that ability to give players that much choice, I think is really, really a really, really great thing to do for players.
Well, think of even back in the day, it's been a minute, but like remember when we were playing Destiny and Destiny 2?
Yeah,
where we're going to run strikes, and we decided to throw a modifier on to be able to play in hard or whatever difficulty at the time because we wanted better drops. So
yeah, and I think that's a great way to incentivize people to play the game at a higher or a harder quote unquote level. I think that's really a good way to do that.
It's a good way too to ramp up the particular mechanics and skill as far as your knowledge of that, and maybe test to see as far as how well you've been doing and kind of go from there. A lot of games too, like a lot of From games, through that gate right at the beginning of the game, like when Kev was talking about with Armored Core 6, where, you had to get past that big monolithic piece of shit. I forgot what it was. I think it was like a destroyer, right? Or something.
It's a helicopter.
Like helicopter, okay.
That was crazy.
From games typically will throw a big difficulty thing at the beginning of the game to kind of get you to learn the mechanics. Even so, it's almost like I'm not looking forward to finally firing up Armored Core 6 because I got to deal with that, and maybe I have to take things slow. I know that's where a lot of people just decide to just drop the game entirely too. So it's just,
it took me a minute, but I mean there is a level of that kind of sigh of relief when you pass it and you really feel like you've accomplished something. So don't get me wrong, like that's a really big aspect of playing on a hard mode and really challenging yourself. So there are people who really like that is like a driving factor is to get on that hard mode and beat that hard mode just to show how, I don't know if it's how cool you are, but just that you're able to do that. So I definitely am not trying to diminish that. People who do play hard mode, it's just wow, it's another level that I'm not comfortable with as I get older and as my time goes away and all this other stuff. So
one thing I remember too is playing like harder games, especially back in the day on like PlayStation 1 or something like. I don't know if you have any experience playing this series or not, Des, but do you remember the Kingsfield series from back in the day?
I do not know.
Okay, yeah, it's like a kind of first-person dungeon crawly type where you're going through a first-person maze, but it was extremely difficult. But I remember just trying and just keep at it and learning the mechanics, and no one really taught you how to play. You had to kind of figure things out for yourself, and it was gradual progression where you're able to finally get past a certain point. And I think that's where the DNA for like a lot of the Souls games comes from, because this is like 1996, for God's sake, on the PlayStation 1, me playing around with the original Kingsfield, and so trying to figure that out, or I remember other harder games from back in the day, even thinking about like maybe NES, where like Adventures of Link, Zelda 2 is notoriously like difficult for people right away, especially if they were so used to Zelda 1 on there. And it just depends on the particular game and the title too. Sometimes just games are just going to be easy and you want to crank it up. It just depends on what the creator kind of wanted to do with the game. But I'm grateful that there is difficulty modes included for certain games, because you just want to get to that right sweet spot if necessary. So
I agree. So Kev, what about you? Are you easy, normal, or hard mode kind of guy?
So it depends on the game. If I'm playing Ninja Gaiden, I'm playing it on the hardest difficulty. That's
Do you want
that's
that
really how you're supposed to play it. Really,
Ninja Dog.
No Ninja Dog here. If I'm playing something like games like that, like Devil May Cry, once I get used to how each one plays, they all play the same, but there's a slightly different rhythm to the combat in each one. And once I figure that out, then what I'll often do is I'll just restart it and then play it in the hardest difficulty. So my action games are usually I play them in the hard. So I'm like beat 'em ups, that type of thing. I'm going to be playing those in hard. The only time that I don't is like there are some games that the mechanics are bad and they don't equate, not the mechanics are bad, but maybe the animations are not good. It's hard to read the tells. A perfect example of that was that that one action RPG where it's like a dating sim and an action game all in one. I played the demo of it, and the name of it is escaping me right now. But
Eternites?
Eternites, yeah, Eternites combat is terrible. It is. I mean, like it is. The animations are so janky, and the combat requires you to counter or or to parry. It's either a counter or a parry. I can't remember which that you're supposed to do, but that's how you do a big chunk of your damage. That's how you land those critical hits, particularly on boss characters. And the animation is just so janky that it's really hard to see the tells of your opponents. Not to mention, it doesn't handle multiple opponents well. It doesn't have like, or at least to the point that I played, the quote unquote crowd control moves aren't that great, and it just does not. The tools that it gives you are not refined enough to play it the way that I think the developer intended you to play it. So for a game like that, I will dial it down. If I just well, the combat's not really grabbing me, but the story is keeping me interested enough to keep on going. That I will dial it down. I'll dial it down to, like, for the Eternights demo, I dialed it down to its lowest one because the combat was just not good. But I just kind of wanted to see where the game was going to go, and it turned out that, the story didn't hold my attention enough to really want to go and play the game just to get the story out of it. But like, it's the exact opposite with Grand Blue Relink. Grand Blue Relink to me is easy. So I have cranked it up to the hardest difficulty level. I didn't get a challenge till I got to that section that I mentioned in our last episode. So it all really depends. Now, if I'm playing like a story game, like say something like Horizon Zero Dawn, or I'm playing The Last of Us or something like that, maybe even something like Spider-Man, I will play at the normal difficulty, because typically with those games, the hard difficulty is just everybody's just hit points are just up.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah. One thing that I like about Final Fantasy 16 is that when you crank up the difficulty, particularly in New Game Plus, you get different enemies with a different attack patterns.
See, there you
so
go.
they put in some changes with that. They just didn't give everybody like beefier hit points, or a beefier posture gauge, or that's the wrong term. I'm using a Sekiro term for that, but they call it something else in Final Fantasy 16. But they actually took the extra effort to make things really more challenging. So that's really the only time I will do that. But typically in my story games, I'll just play it in normal. I played normal in God of War. And one thing that, as good as God of War is, it's weird because, like, I can remember playing the original God of Wars when I would crank it up to the hardest difficulty. The way they made it harder was that the enemies would just power through your attacks to hit you. And it's like, well, that's not really great. You're just basically making everything just kind of tank through you just to get in and hit you. Of course, they beef up the hit points. So some creators can do it effectively, and other creators can't. So it's just a matter of knowing which games that is going to give you as a player that benefit, and which ones you're just better off just leaving at normal. That's how I've been able to play it. So
There you go. So again, we'd love to hear your thoughts about easy mode, normal mode, hard mode, and why you choose, the level or the mode that you choose. We would love to hear your thoughts because I know some of you have been playing games for a very long time, and we could really get into the weeds about like the differences between easy mode and normal mode and hard mode, and we kind of touched on it a little bit, but would definitely love to hear your thoughts. And if you want to learn how to join our Discord or be part of the conversation, wait till the end, and Kev will tell you how. But what follows me is the Jabroni Game and News.
All right, thank you, Dez.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, so first topic on the docket for news this episode. We talked about it the last couple episodes, but we finally had Phil and Matt Booty and Sarah Bond get together in a podcast format on the official Xbox podcast. Major Nelson has retired, so it's whatever format that was, what they showed on there. But they waited all the way up until Thursday this past week, and both me and Dez watched it live, and it was just a lot of corporate speak, a lot of talking about Xbox is basically about whatever device that you're using to play Xbox games on, and so on and so forth. And they made a point of a couple of times talking about that Xbox is the only major console manufacturer that gives you dual entitlement, meaning that you have access to the game both on console and also on PC at the same time on there if you happen to purchase said game on there. Too bad that the Xbox app for PC and Game Pass is kind of booty, but some people do make it work if need be. But all in all, what we've been talking like the last few episodes about Starfield going multi-plat, Indiana Jones going multi-plat. They have not decided to obviously reveal all their plans of what they've talked about internally on their Flight Simulator, of course, was another rumor. Gears of War, but during this podcast, they didn't even decide to reveal the name of the games. They just, Phil basically stated that there's going to be 4 separate games that are going to be released multi-platform. Of course, basically The Verge and other sources have confirmed those games as being Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, which was referred during the podcast as smaller creator-driven games that have been previously on Xbox and PC on there, that they reiterated on the podcast, saying that they kind of met the life cycle on the platforms that they're on, and that the creators were looking forward to bringing them out for different platforms besides Steam and Xbox on there. And then they mentioned that there was 2 service games on here, so it could be a number of different games, but it was confirmed by The Verge and also Famitsu's talking about Sea of Thieves, and it's kind of surprising Grounded is coming out for PlayStation and Switch on that. So, but they outright denied rumors about Starfield and Indiana Jones. He did mention in an interview with The Verge that was published around the same time as the podcast coming out, saying that I don't think we should, as an industry, ever rule out a game from going to any other platform. We're focused on these 4 games and learning from the experience, but I don't want to create a false expectation on those other platforms that this is somehow the first 4 to get over the dam, and then the dam's going to open and everything else is coming. That's not the plan today. I don't want to mislead customers on those other platforms where we're launching these 4 games, and we're excited about it. We're excited about the announcement and everything else, but we'll see what happens for our business. So these 4 games are quote-unquote the test games for Microsoft and Xbox. So they also revealed on the podcast that the Activision Blizzard games are starting to come to Games Pass. Diablo 4 is coming out on March 28th. They also revealed during the podcast that Game Pass currently has 34 million subscribers on there, a boost from the 25 million that they reported back in January of 2022. It should be noted that all Xbox Live Gold subscriptions were converted to Xbox Game Pass Core subscriptions. So they basically have confirmed that the 34 million subscribers are including the prior Xbox Live Gold members on there. So, and Phil Spencer also commented the number of players who had Xbox Live Gold but not Game Pass were a pretty small number, and that significant growth in subscribers came from PC and cloud players on here. And then last but not least, they mentioned and kind of started hinting about new hardware. They said that they are invested in a next generation roadmap, that Game Pass is going to remain on just on Xbox consoles and PC. And they're quote unquote promising that they're going to deliver the largest technical leap that you would ever have seen in a hardware generation. So, I guess, you're going to promise the world. I guess you're going to promise the world and then some on here. But what did Flavor Flav say? Don't believe the hype?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, but they kept talking about better for players, better for creators, about the visions that they're building. A lot of hyperbole. So, I just thought it was just a bunch of, I watched it for 22 minutes. I wish I just went ahead and made lunch. So.
Wow.
I hate to say, I could have got the nuggets. Okay, 4 games coming out. We're not announcing them because we're gonna let the games be announced separately, even though they're already been leaked to hell and back. So, and then obviously there's little hints about hardware, coming from the manufacturer. If you remember the good old Xbox One X, where like all those wonderful promises, like
Eats
so
monsters
powerful
for breakfast.
Yeah, like it's almost unfair. I remember that whole thing, and so it's like, yeah. So another interview that Phil gave around the same time too, he was talking about that he's bringing out games for both PlayStation and Nintendo platforms, but he doesn't expect for Sony and Nintendo to do the same for Xbox. So this was an interview with Stephen Totillo's GameFile newsletter. He basically is saying that the Xbox bringing out games on other rival platforms basically is not a telltale sign for his competitors to do the same. This is a quote. "This is not for me like some sort of bartering system. We're doing this for the better of Xbox's business," on here. So, and he also stated, "I will say when I look at a game like Helldivers 2, and that's a great game. Kudos to the team shipping on PC and PlayStation. I'm not exactly sure who it helps in the industry by not being on Xbox. If you try to twist yourself to say like somehow that benefited somebody somewhere, but I get it. There's a legacy in console gaming that we're going to benefit by shipping games and not putting them on other places. We do the same thing on here. I will say shipping more games in more places and making them more accessible to more people is a good part of the gaming business." So he commented on that. So I guess you just can't get everything you want, Phil. So, but Kevin, any thoughts about all this business?
This was the biggest waste of time I've ever seen from a corporation. I'm just glad they cut it off at under a half hour, and they didn't, it wasn't anything further. They're literally just repeating the same crap that they've been saying since 2016. Whenever Game Pass came out, play anywhere, play everywhere, wherever your friends are. It was
cross save,
cross progression. It's like acting as if this shit is new. It ain't new, bruh. It what this meeting was, let's just get to the brass tacks. This meeting was to keep the Xbox, let's say those that are more fervent about the brand, off the ledge, metaphorically speaking, because their community, their online community, was imploding on itself like a dead star. It was in Twitter, it was in other social media spaces, it was all over YouTube comments. Their community was imploding in on itself, and this was something to keep to kind of like to stop the bleeding from of the Tim Dogs and the Colts and the Davids and all these folks out there that have created these online personas, be they real or fake, that are just seem to be going off the deep end. And even some of those people are saying that this meeting changes nothing. Starfield and everything else on Xbox's table is going multi-platform. This was just their way of saying, hey, we're starting with 4 games, but that's all it is right now. And please don't trade in those series consoles, because we need to keep our numbers as high as we can keep them. The last thing we need is folks jumping ship. It was just to stop the bleeding from the more from the mouthpieces of the community. That's what this meeting was all about. And Sarah talking about the biggest hardware leap. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, well, shame on me. Well, technically, this would be 3 times, because the One X was supposed to eating monsters for breakfast. The Series X was supposed to be the 12 teraflop destroyer. So I guess that is 2 times, but
it's not working for you.
I'm just, it's like, when are you going to actually start utilizing these teraflops in first party content that's worth anything? And I know that, and that, quote unquote worth anything is subjective, but I'm sorry, when you stack Xbox's first party lineup against what Nintendo does, against what PlayStation does, when you're talking apples to apples first party, there's just no comparison in my mind. Xbox stuff just falls short. And all the teraflops and all the liquid chambers or vapor chambers that you can throw into a plastic box is not going to change that until you start making better games. And we already know what their next console is going to have. It's going to be a hybrid. It's going to be something that utilizes the cloud. It's going to be something that utilizes Xbox Cloud and AI. So as far as she could be talking about a dongle that plugs into your HDMI port behind your TV or monitor. I mean, the biggest hardware leap ever seen. It's like, okay, when you got the Surface team developing your console, it's like, okay, how powerful is it really going to be? So I don't know. I think what has to happen is that people, and this doesn't just go for Xbox. I think this goes for any of the platform holders. Me myself, I've already resolved to the fact that regardless of what PlayStation does, what Nintendo does, I am going to be a console gamer. Number one, I value my physical media above all else when it comes to gaming. So that's one reason why I won't be transitioning to something like PC. Number two, I don't like gaming on PC. for reasons I have explained to ad nauseum on this show and on others. So I'm not going anywhere as far as the console market goes. So when PlayStation drops their next box, when Nintendo drops their next box, I will be there. I will be there day and date. And I think for people like me on the Xbox side of the fence, nothing's really going to change. Um, if you prefer gaming on Xbox, then what they're doing really, and you don't want to game on PC, there's really nothing is going to change for you. But the fact of the matter is that I think most Xbox gamers either already have a gaming PC or are in the process of putting one together or buying one, or are very open to the idea of gaming on PC. So for them to make these changes, it's not going to be a big switch up for them. The only difference being is that if you don't want to deal with the Microsoft store, you're just going to have to start buying your games on Steam or one of the other stores. So I don't know. I don't know. This was just corporate gobbledygook that could have been done in a tweet.
How about you, Des?
No, I agree with Kev. What all Kev said. It was just kind of the nothing burger. I mean, they did say, hey, we're not going to be doing this, and they were just trying to reassure the folks that it's not going anywhere. We promise it'll be fine. And that's what they kind of had to do in order to make things feel okay for folks. So, and it's kind of interesting that they even took the time to do that, because, they don't really have to. I think they really believe that people are going to give them the benefit of the doubt, or at least, they will try and keep an, I don't want to say open mind, because these are gamers and we're all kind of crazy sometimes, but it just, I don't know. It felt kind of interesting that they even took the time to do this, because most of the times I don't think that they even would, But the fact that they did just shows that, hey, we know stuff's popping off. We know folks is mad, so let's kind of talk about this. It just shows that they are testing the waters. This is what this is about. They are testing the waters. They're not going to give you a Bethesda game because that's their ace in the hole for the most part. Although it's not really. I mean, it's not really. I don't want to say coming to fruition. It's not really paying dividends yet because of how low Starfield was received. But at the same time, you're not gonna, give your biggest thing, to your competitor. So I expect them to, by them I mean Xbox, to play this safe, see a little bit, give us Grounded, give us Sea of Thieves, all the stuff that is not, that I don't want to say they don't care about, but the stuff that they just believe is going to be, they could take a loss on or a hit on, so to speak. And if it works well and people start getting those downloads, then they're like, okay, hey, maybe we can work this out. Maybe we can possibly get some people on here, get some eyes on this stuff, and hopefully we can turn some of these these PlayStation folks into Xbox folks. Because if you can't get everybody, you want to get somebody. Because what a lot of people don't realize is in the streaming market, there's a ton of people who have multiple streaming services. So it is not uncommon for folks to have Hulu, Apple, and all these other places. So for me, it's just Xbox thinking, okay, well, we might not be able to get everybody, but who can we get now? And if they can get at least a couple people to sign on, then they're fine. And so that's why I think that they're putting up this quote unquote olive branch, because if most people are willing to have multiple streaming options, well, then maybe they'll have multiple game passes or game systems or whatever. Again, this goes to me saying that Xbox is running a different race than anybody else. They are, and this just goes to show that they're willing to take these chances. Whether it's good or not, I don't. That's not for me to say. It's for their budget crunchers to say. They're the ones that are going to be like, this made sense, or this didn't make sense, or whatever. And I think they're just trying to soft shoe the Colt Eastwoods and all the people who were like super fans, and all these people that are, returning in their consoles, or sawing their consoles in half, which is just stupid, just dumb. Like, they already got their money, folks. So doing that is just you throwing your money away. But that's just silly. But that's just a long-winded way of me saying that this is not the last time we're going to see this. If it goes well, they're going to put some more games on it, and then maybe, the real test is if we start seeing some Sony games on Xbox. That should be a red flag. Like, if we start seeing some Sony games on Game Pass, like first party games on Game Pass, then something's going on. Because again, I still think it's Sony is the brand to beat. So you're saying something, Joe?
Oh, we have MLB The Show, but that's like an outlier.
Yeah, that doesn't count. Like, now,
and the Bungie games, of course.
Yeah, but that's all stuff that's been already like established. I'm talking about like new stuff. Like if we're gonna get like a God of War or something like that, that would mean something. That right there would mean something if that happens. I don't think it will, but because again, Sony is the place to beat. But again, this is all speculation, and until Phil and the rest of them, or Sarah Bond, shows their hand, it's all speculation at this point. So I wish them all the best. I think if you have both consoles, or are able to afford both consoles, you are making out like bandits. And if you have both consoles, just sit back and enjoy all the free eats. I mean, that's pretty much it.
As long as you have a Game Pass subscription.
Enjoy the free eats, because it's pretty good.
God forbid we might have a listener or two that mainly game on Xbox and happens to just dip into PlayStation for their exclusives. So it just depends on where you're coming from, where you prefer to play. I know from what you were talking about, the service games and whatnot, they were talking at one point about pulling support for Fallout 76, but they saw how well it was doing on the PlayStation side, so they continued support for the game. Same thing with Oblivion. Elder Scrolls Online too, as far as that's concerned. So I could see to where they're looking at their service games like Sea of Thieves or Grounded and say that, hey, there's an audience here on PlayStation that would more than likely support this title. I could basically tell you dime the dollars that once they bring either both Sea of Thieves and Grounded out, you might see both of those games eventually on PSN under the PlayStation Plus Extra or premium tiers, possibly at some point.
I mean, I hate to say it. I think that Sea of Thieves. Well, I think I'm not gonna lie. I think Grounded actually would do pretty well because it's a multiplayer game. You can play with your kids. It's non-offensive. Yeah. So I think that's a game that might do well. So
especially on Switch.
Well, especially on. I think it's going to not dominate, but I think it's going to do really well on Switch. I mean,
Yeah.
100%. I think it's just going to do. I just think it's going to do well personally.
Well, we'll have to see. Xbox is not going away. We'll get more nice colored controllers, and we'll see what this new hardware is going to be. I think both console manufacturers are kind of eyeballing the Steam Deck and seeing that, and we're working on handhelds according to the rumors right now. So we'll have to see what all that business is about. And as long as I get a dedicated console to accompany the handheld, I'm all good with that. So. And since we're talking about Sony and what Sony's going to do, there was a Sony's earning call this past week, and so there was a lot of things that were stated about what happened with Sony's earnings call on here. So they said that they stated that their shares fell as much as 8.4% on Thursday, basically because of their quarterly financial results. Now, they hope to have shipped 25 million PlayStation 5s throughout the fiscal year ending in March, but they stated that they're going to miss their targets by 4 million PlayStation units. So they basically stated that they had a quote-unquote gradual decline in PS5 unit sales from the next fiscal year onwards as far as their forecasting. And they stated officially that they have no plans to release any new entries in quote-unquote major franchises like God of War or Spider-Man in the next 12 months up to March 2025 on here. So some analysts stated that if the platform has already peaked in growth, then the outlook would be much grimmer than what even we had in mind for its game business. We had long feared that the deep-pocketed Microsoft and the subscription service called Game Pass could prove highly disruptive to Sony. So there was another analyst that stated after the Q2 sales came out in 2023, it's already crystal clear that Sony will never reach 25 million units this fiscal year. Quarter 3 was okay, but only possible because of Sony's heavy promotions and discount during the holidays. If you remember when Sony was doing some crazy deals for PS5 in particular. So they were trying to get to their sales projections on here. So, and then they had a Q&A session afterwards after the financial results, if I could talk properly, and PlayStation chairman Hiroki Tokoki said that he wants to be aggressive when it comes to improving the gaming division's profit margins, which he said could partly be achieved with a greater focus on bringing first-party games to PC. So this is kind of coming along to where, if you're going to be reading the tea leaves, maybe at some point you might see PlayStation games on Xbox. I don't think so because of the fact that it's a smaller audience on Xbox, but they are looking maybe to bring PlayStation games, more games day and date on PC. So, and this is another quote, says, in terms of hardware, he noted that cost reduction in this console cycle is really difficult to come by compared to previous generations due to the increased price of components, and implied that console prices wouldn't be dropping while it looked for other ways to improve margins. And how can we, given the situation, put our product lines together to make it affordable without relying on steep discounts to reasonably sell them to continue our commercial journey on a sustainable basis? I personally think it's important there's an opportunity in that. He addressed first-party games, saying it made it clear that releasing them multi-platform, which he clarified meaning PC, continues to be the way forward. He stated, in the past, we wanted to popularize consoles, and as a first party's title, main purpose was to make the console popular. This is true, but there's a synergy to it. So if you have a strong first party content, not only on our console, but other platforms like computers, a first party game can be grown with multi-platform, and that can help operating profit to improve. So that's another one we want to proactively work on. I personally think there are opportunities out there for improvement of margin, so I would like to go aggressive in improving our margin performance. So that's what they had to state. about that. So in years past, obviously, we talked about on the show. We even had a stake bet about this, about games possibly coming date on PC for PlayStation. So it just looks like because of the earnings call and what's happening, that they want to let their investors know they're looking at every possible avenue to quote unquote maintain that growth. So
Yeah.
So I don't know. My opinion of this, I mean, we'll see what other games PlayStation has on the board for fiscal year 2024. I don't care about games coming day and date on PC. I still have my console. I'm still going to enjoy my games on my PlayStation if need be. Who knows? Maybe I'll double dip on some stuff that can run easily on the Steam Deck per se. I don't think I would want dual entitlement like Phil was talking about with Xbox and Windows, because I doubt I'm going to be buying a Windows PC, a handheld device on there. I think I'm cool with the Steam Deck if need be for that type of need, if need be. So, but
I won't be.
This doesn't, basically prevent PlayStation from releasing other titles throughout the fiscal year. Obviously, they've been doing a lot of, getting third parties involved to, basically promote them, like first party games like Final Fantasy VII, Rebirth, if need be. Not Rebirth. What's the name of the new Final Fantasy?
Rebirth. It's Rebirth.
It's Rebirth. Okay, I was thinking Remake.
That
was the first
Remake
one.
was the first. Rebirth is the second.
Yeah. So that's Stellar Blade, of course, Rise of the Ronin, and I believe they'll probably be working with other developers to promote games as if they were like first party titles. Right now, there's a big rumor that Astrobot's going to return this fiscal year, and Team Asobi is going to have a new game on there. And they also have to think about their PlayStation VR 2, and as far as supporting that, which has been kind of disappointing to some people as well. So what do you think, Kev, about the future of PlayStation moving forward? You think we're going to see PS6 coming out in 2026?
I think we'll see PS6. I'm thinking 27, more than likely. If they're going to drop a PS5 Pro, which all evidence says that it will, leakers, I know Moore's Law is dead, has talked about this. His contacts have basically said it's a done deal. I think that's going to push PS5 relevance a couple of years further down the line. So I wouldn't expect I'm not really expecting PS6 anytime soon. Maybe 27, maybe 28 at the earliest. That's just how I feel about it. If the PS5 Pro is as powerful as rumors are suggesting, for people that understand all that tech stuff, which I do not. But
same.
I will say this, even though I'm not going anywhere, if they ever want to have the level of console market saturation that they had for the PlayStation 2, the dumbest move that they could make would be releasing their first party content on PC. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to have your console, your more console robust people, just like they got them on the Xbox side, they got them on the PlayStation side too. Those people are going to walk away. They're going to go to PC. They're more than happy to spend thousands upon thousands of dollars to play games at the highest level of fidelity. Now, is that a big margin of the quote unquote gaming market? It's not big, but just like you had Tim Dog bringing in people like Jeff Keighley in his 8-hour crying session that he did on Twitter Spaces. You have people like that on the PlayStation side too, and those folks are going to get people to say, or convince enough people to say, you know what, why am I investing in this console? I bought all this headgear, all these controllers, all this and all that. Never mind the fact that you can already use this stuff on PC natively through Steam anyway. But they're gonna say, I've got all this stuff, and Sony's just thrown it away. They would be very foolish if the console is still as big a part of if they see the console as big as their overall growth for PlayStation as it has been, they would be foolish to put everything day and date on PC. If you keep it a year, 2 years difference from console release to PC, you treat your console buyer as first-class citizens, meaning that those games come into the services first before they go on to PC. You squeeze every bit of earning potential from from the people that brought you to the dance, that being your core console buyer, the people that spend the most, that buy your peripherals, buy all that stuff. You treat them well and you bring those games over to PC a year, 2 years down the line, I don't think you've got a problem. But if you start trying to play the Xbox game because you're trying to figure out your profit margins, then you can kiss the whatever hopes and dreams that you had of beating PlayStation 2 market saturation. You can kiss that goodbye. It's not going to happen. Because those people will switch to PC. A lot of them will. And they will just wait until those games come to Steam. Now, does that mean that PlayStation consoles will not sell? No, of course not. It doesn't mean that at all. Does it mean that PlayStation consoles will not be popular? No, absolutely it won't. But it will deteriorate the value of the product with your core fan base. It absolutely will. So if they think that's worth the short-term gain for profit margins, then go ahead and do it. Now, again, I ain't going nowhere because me and PC gaming ain't making it. But for a lot of other people, they will go elsewhere. They will build that PC, or if they haven't already. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be the multi-$1,000 rigs that everybody claims to have, but most people don't. It could just be something that can play these games at higher resolutions, higher frame rates, higher overall fidelity than the consoles can. And while that's still going to be, in my opinion, a fairly expensive endeavor, there are people that are going to go ahead and make that jump, go ahead and wait for those games to come. Well, if it's day and date, they don't have to wait because they're getting it same day, and they'll be getting the premiere version of said game, assuming that the ports are done with any degree of competency and justice. So, yeah, it's. Granted, I get it. These folks got to make money, but as you chase that dollar, you got to remember who brought you. And I think that's a big reason why Xbox is in the position that it is right now, because they lost sight of who brought them. And if Sony wants to tip down that same roll of tulips as Phil and them are doing right now, if they feel they can do the same thing but better, hey, go ahead. Like I said, more power to you. Like I said, I'll be here, but a lot of your other folks that you've been depending on to sell them earbuds, sell them Edge controllers, they probably won't. So do at your own risk.
Any thoughts, Des?
No, he pretty much said what I was going to say. I mean, that's really what it comes down to be completely honest with you.
Okay, and since we're talking about Xbox and PlayStation, now we're talking about Nintendo Switch. Okay, the latest rumor right now is that the Switch 2 is now launching in 2025. So, rumors prior had it coming out like third or fourth quarter 2024, but according to a few journalists, they've received information from 5 separate sources that Nintendo has reached out to state that they are targeting a Q1 2025 launch on here. So Eurogamer reports it's heard similar whispers from industry sources. BGC previously reported they were targeting a launch for next console in late 2024 on here. Basically that they've heard from numerous sources, though, that BGC stated that it will launch in Q1 2025 on here. It kind of follows the same timeline as the original Switch, because the original Switch came out in March of that year. I think it was 2016, I think, when it came out. So it kind of moves in that same kind of space where it will not be coming out towards Christmas, but more towards first quarter of 2025. And it actually makes sense, because even though everyone and their uncle's mother knows that Switch 2 is coming, they're still going to be able to sell Switches during the Christmas season for this upcoming year. So,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's just a point that we'll see what happens when it's announced, and kind of take it from there. Gotta start saving those ducats on there. People are kind of estimating that's going to launch at a $399.99 price on there, and obviously I think Nintendo will probably kind of take the same pricing structure for their first party games like they did with Tears of the Kingdom, and release games at a $69.99 price, which doesn't surprise me either.
Yeah,
inflation and whatnot.
I don't think they're gonna kick it up either. I think it's gonna be the same price. You're just gonna be paying a little bit more for the console.
Yeah. So I'm excited for it. I mean, I want to see exactly what it is, but if it's backwards compatible like they're stating, and runs games in better fidelity, be able to play all my Switch games, because I've been noted on this show to kind of consider Switch kind of being kind of trashy, with certain games, certain frame rates and that kind of thing. Not as bad as me talking about the N64, but it's just that's why even though the games on Switch are awesome from what I played, it's just I don't tend to go to that console because of the fidelity of the console, and I rather, if Nintendo released a Switch box that forgoed its portability and just had a console of some sort, I would be totally for it. So that's just me, though.
Yep.
Yeah, I would too. Like I said, if I could play Bayonetta 3 at a decent frame rate, I'll be happy. That's all I'm really asking out of this thing.
Yeah, I mean, that's all you really can ask for. I mean, I'm gonna buy it day one. I'm a sucker. I will put it right on my forehead. Nintendo straight up got a whole nother generation out of the Switch before having to upgrade it at all. So, and I helped them do it. So
we all
did. So that's why I'm kind of like, well, okay, I will be in line to pick it up. And then the one thing that I really hope that they don't do, and I pray that they don't release a non-OLED one, and then like a year or two later we get a Switch 2 Pro that's an OLED. If they do that, I would be like, I don't know. I'm like, y'all are out of control.
That's what the current rumor is right now.
See, I'm like, no, don't do that. Please don't do that.
Current rumor right now is using the same screen like we talked about, I think, last episode. It's same 8-inch screen as the PlayStation Portal. So,
why do that?
Because they can get you to double dip. They know they're going to have a lot of people that are going to double dip. You build less expensive hardware. Number one, you can charge higher for it, so your profit margins are built in. They don't have to worry about the stuff that Sony and Xbox have to worry about because they're at the higher end from the tech perspective, right? Mm-hmm. So you build cheaper hardware, you make it a little bit better. you charge a little bit more, and then after a year and a half, you can go ahead and drop, oh, it's the OLED. Oh, people are going to head back to GameStop or eBay or whoever, make their trades, make their sales, and then they're going to go right back out there and buy the same damn thing again, just with a prettier screen. That's how you make your money.
If you could
That's how
see,
you stack your
oh,
paper.
if you
Maybe
could
they
see me
pushed it
right now.
back. Maybe they pushed it back to have an OLED at launch with it. Who knows?
I mean, I really hope it has an OLED at launch. Like, please, please, please. Like, if you
It
can see
would
me,
be nice, but why would they? They're gonna make more
exactly.
money. They're gonna make more money doing it the same way they did it this time around.
I know. I know. Trust me, I know. You
Hey,
know,
if I was in their position, I'd do the same thing. I
yep.
ain't mad at it. I am not mad at it. I mean, like I said
Mm.
before, I've never taken my Switch out of the dock. I've never played it as a portable console. And when the second one comes out, it'll sit in its dock just like the first one did. Never leaving it at all because I have no real use for portable gaming platforms.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of people out there that do. Steam Deck has proven, and all these other portable PC things, and well, it started with the Switch, right?
Yeah.
It's proven that people still like the idea of taking their games with them on the go.
Yep.
So they've got it figured out. They've got it figured out. Everybody
So
else is playing catch up.
so do you think? See, this is what makes me because what you were saying like makes 100% uh makes it like 100% like true and accurate. So I keep thinking, and I'm only gonna regress just a little bit, not a lot, but this is why I keep thinking that it only makes sense that the next and this is all rumors and speculation, but that's why I'm thinking like the next Xbox is going to be the X hand or X handheld. It's going to be like a handheld, because Phil likes to look at what the Japanese are doing. So we might have a new, we might get a new one. I'll be like, oh damn, we
I'm
really.
still I'm still kind of iffy on that because it's like as much as he's been talking about the Steam Deck and the ROG Ally, and now we've got the what is it, the MSI Claw coming out. If it's not out already, for Xbox to jump into that portable ring when it's already so crowded with known quantities from known companies doing this, I don't know.
You don't think so?
It's a possibility, but when they say that the what's their name of their tablet, the
Surface.
Microsoft Surface, when the Surface team has been given control of the next generation of their Xbox hardware, that carries a lot of weight in my mind for a handheld or a handheld hybrid console from Xbox.
It'd be kind of crazy and would kind of blow my mind if it was a hybrid Windows/Xbox OS device. So, meaning that it would play all your Xbox titles from like Xbox One, Xbox 360, and also series consoles, and also play Windows and have a Windows OS on there as well. So
That'd be kind of fun.
So it just depends if they can actually implement that, or if it's just going to be strictly just Xbox titles, because a lot of us here, we don't have a lot of big catalogs with Xbox titles besides for Game Pass. And so, imagine if you were able to get Windows 11 on this thing and have Xbox also OS built into the whole mix, and have it being like a hybrid platform. So it'd be kind of crazy. It'd be like Bill Gates wanted to get Windows into the house and onto the TVs from way back in the day. So there you go.
But again, I think it's awesome that they're finally giving us this. But I really hope that we get an OLED. I really hope that it is better than what we currently have. Like, I know it's going to be, it's going to look great, it's going to do this and it's going to do that, but please just don't let the step back be too hardcore. Please,
We'll
Nintendo.
see.
Please. So
maybe we'll have to do a future main event question as far as what games are hypothesized as far as launch titles and that kind of thing. So
yeah, it'd be kind of fun.
yep. All right, and so, I'm going to round out the news right now. We've been talking about Xbox this, PlayStation that, Nintendo this. We haven't really been talking a lot of games, and so I got some little small brief gaming news about particular game titles that we kind of hold near and dear. At least we talked about them before, but Earth Defense Force 6 has been delayed for the West, so got to pour one out for
Sad
EDF.
face.
So EDF 6, basically, they stated that according to the companies, the launch window was extended to add quote-unquote finishing touches and finalize necessary preparations for EDF 6 Western's launch. So it's going to be available for PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, and PC via Steam. The Asian version, however, will be coming out on the March 14th date, and we'll have English audio. So I'd be kind of curious to see what's in that Asian version, if it's going to be different from the version that is coming out in the summer. There's a possibility it might be different. There's a possibility it might not be different. So, someone might have to make the financial investment to see, possibly. So.
That's you. I mean, I'm not lying. It's Joe. Joe's gonna do it. So.
Maybe when we're in Akihabara or in Denden Town on our little foray into the motherland known as Japan, and maybe we'll have to pick it up there if it's available for purchase. So
I'll split it with you.
Good deal. Also, too, NIS America finally has announced Ease 10 Nordics for a Western release. So
that trailer looked great. Don't mean to cut you off. That trailer looked great.
Yeah, that game, I played the demo I talked about in the previous episode here. It's on the PlayStation Store in Japan, and that's the one where I was holding my phone to do the Google Translate and try to play the demo, and that's what I pretty much did. And it looks like a fresh take. I mean, Ease 8 and 9 are both on PSN, PlayStation Plus Extra, the PS4 versions, but there's also a PS5 version of both of those. But if you've never played the Ease game, they're like a classic action RPG, kind of similar to Zelda, but more action-based, like maybe a Mana game, if need be. But I've been kind of looking forward to this one, playing the demo, of course. I know Digital Foundry, John Linneman, was on his end of the year, games of the year for him for 2024, 2023, because he was playing the Japanese version. And so, this is one of the rare Japanese titles where it's not released, day and date in all territories, because Falcom, because of the fact that some of their games are kind of text heavy, don't release their games day and date usually. That's why all the Trails of Cold Steel games and whatnot usually are released here sometimes 2 years after they are released in Japan on there. But it is coming out in the fall, it looks like here. It's coming out west, and we'll have access to it. It's going to be on PS5, PS4, Switch, and PC. So we'll have to take a look at this game. I'm hoping that there's some nice goodies in the collector's edition that NIS usually does. If there's a steelbook, we pretty much have to take my money, honey. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. So, and then last but not least, another game we've kind of touched upon in episodes past, but No Man's Sky just got a big update kind of out of the blue. So they have released the Omega update, and the Omega update basically introduces a lot of things. They are introducing a free-to-play version. It's open to everyone on there, and so you can play for free even if you don't own No Man's Sky. So you're able to go ahead and just kind of download the game and play. Also, there's a new way to start expeditions. You could dive into community expeditions directly from existing save games on there. Starborn Runner, you could slice through space and atmosphere alike in the ultra sleek Starborn Runner starship on here. There's quite other things that have been updated, so definitely take a look to see. And is this something you're interested in, Des, as far as going back to No Man's Sky, or?
Yeah, I mean, I pop in every now and again to see what's going on. I do think that is one of the best redemption stories ever. And if you're willing to, put in the time and experience it, I do think that you're gonna love it. It's a really fun game. And you would not be doing yourself a disservice if you did not play it. Sorry, you'd be doing yourself a disservice if you did not play it. Sorry. It's getting late.
Yeah, it's getting late. So that is the Jabroni gaming news for this episode. So
Thank you for bringing that info to us, Trader Joe. That was a good group of stories here for this week. Good discussion. Great. So that's going to bring us to our game night. Game nights take place every Thursday, 9:30 Eastern, 6:30 p.m. Pacific. So that's the day of the week we set aside to hang out with our growing Discord community, play games, catch up, and just have fun with folks who call our Discord server home. So how do you become a part of that? Well, you just hop onto our Discord server, go to our game night section, and you post what you'd like to play, and we'll get a hold of that game if we don't already have it, and we will join you on Thursday nights in a gameplay session. So very cool. I think it's a very great way, like I said, to catch up. So you might be asking, how do you join our Discord server? Well, that's easy. You just hop on to the app formerly known as Twitter, currently known as X. And you hop in there and you go to what do they call those things in Twitter now? Our
Spaces? What?
No, not Spaces. Just when you go to our page. I'll just call it page. I know that's Facebook. But we're going to go to our page on X at Gaming Vessels, GAMINGVESSELS. You click the link and hey, you're in. So there is no waiting period. There is no Patreon tier list to pay for. All we ask is that you just be a good person, likes talking about, playing, and posting about your gaming adventures with other folks who are doing the same thing. And I think you'll find yourself a very nice home in our little slice of social media. So if any of that sounds good to you, highly encourage you to join us on Thursday nights for our game nights. It's a great time, particularly with games like Helldivers 2. It's just a blast to play for game night. That's probably one of the funnest game night games I think that's currently out right now. Besides the Division and the Tiny Tina stuff, a lot of choices to be had. So I just want to make that option available to folks who are enjoying what we're doing here on the show. So that is going to bring episode 239 to a close. I want to thank y'all for chilling out with us. So for Dez, aka the Bay Area Terror, aka the High Res Lover,
that's me,
aka the Cat Daddy, aka that Gamer Stepdaddy, and for Trader Joe, aka Jabroni Chief.
Yeah.
You might also know him as the Food Max of Gaming, who can maximize your gaming dollar. I am Shonuff71, aka Diggadolamite.
That purple bling bling, y'all.
And we'll be back next time, episode 240 for your ears.
2 weeks.
Peace.
Yep, 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Peace.